Pinellas chapter of the Florida Native Plant Society is the largest of the 33 chapters, with over 400 members. Founded in 1990, it has operated continuously in fulfilling the mission of FNPS. The name Pinellas is derived from the Spanish words Punta Pinal, meaning point of pines. The logo for the Pinellas chapter features the native longleaf pine. Pinellas County is the most densely populated county in the state, with just under 1 million residents. The Pinellas chapter is governed by an 11-member board of directors and officers who meet monthly via Zoom, which they began pre-pandemic for the convenience of its members. Functioning committees include conservation, communication, programs, membership, and volunteer. Prior to the pandemic, the Pinellas chapter held monthly speaker meetings at the Moccasin Lake Nature Park. The Education Center has state-of-the-art audio-visual equipment and can hold up to 60 people. Meetings feature a presentation on topics related to the FNPS mission, a silent auction of donated native plants, refreshments, and social time. Since March 2020, our monthly presentations have been held via Zoom, recorded and posted to our YouTube channel and Facebook. Communication with members and the public takes place through our website, Facebook, and twice monthly newsletters to over 1,000 subscribers on the MailChimp platform. Newsletters feature an article written by garden writer Deborah Moran, event announcements, calls to action, and news from FNPS and others. Our calendar is published on FNPS, our website, pinellasnativeplants.org, and as individual Facebook events. Our Facebook group is devoted to topics related to our mission and has 976 members. Each year, the chapter publishes a calendar of presentations, field trips, workshops, and special events. Field trips visit local and regional conservation areas with focus on specific plant communities or restoration projects. Once or twice a year, the field trip will include a camping experience or hotel stay. Since 2019, the chapter has visited Torreo State Park, Jupiter Springs State Park, the McGuire Center, and the Kissimmee River Restoration Project. The chapter has conducted workshops on plant propagation, principles of pruning, and an herbarium workshop on collecting and preserving samples for research. When we're not identifying native plants in the bush, we're IDing them in the pub. Blooms and Brews is a casual evening offering small batch craft brews, complimentary snacks, and the opportunity to mix and mingle with native plant experts. The highlight of the evening is the Plant ID Contest. Florida native cuttings and fruits are displayed with numbers, allowing guests an hour to fill out their answer sheets. Each specimen is then identified with interesting facts and anecdotes, which make for an entertaining presentation. At least it's entertaining to plant nerds. Winners receive gift certificates, and business members provide door prizes that are given out throughout the evening. We hope to host Blooms and Brews Holiday Edition 2021. Prior to 2018, the chapter conducted annual native plant sales, which generated thousands of dollars for programs, grants, and scholarships. The chapter has shifted their focus from fundraising to investing their reserves in projects and grants to other organizations. Notable chapter projects include the Bartlett Park Project, which provided classroom curriculum and workshops on sustainable landscape practices to 100 first-time homebuyers receiving down payment assistance through Neighborhood Home Solutions. The chapter also landscaped the grounds of the community center with help from community residents and Boy Scouts. The Narrows Community Garden demonstration plot illustrated how natives can be combined seamlessly and beautifully with edible herbs and veggies to create a thriving garden and a small ecosystem with insect biodiversity that decreases the need for pesticides. Our newest project is the Honeymoon Island State Park Native Plant Nursery. There, volunteers collect and propagate native plants for replanting the shoreline following an upcoming beach restoration project. A youth education program starting in 2022 seeks to establish a monthly schedule of work days for students seeking volunteer hours for scholarships, provide presentations to K through 12 classes, and assist with establishing campus gardens. The Pinellas chapter has a long history of annual native plant landscape tours for the public. This endeavor requires extensive planning, coordination, and volunteer support. The chapter has paused the public tours for the time being and held a members-only landscape tour in 2019 with plans to showcase native landscapes once again in 2022. The chapter supports 2 educational native plant gardens, the Butterfly Garden at Moccasin Lake Nature Park in Clearwater and the Native Plant Garden at the Florida Botanical Garden in Largo. Volunteers plant, weed, and maintain the gardens every other week. Other volunteer opportunities include assisting organizations in native plant installations, invasive plant removal, speaking to schools and organizations on topics related to our mission, and participating in outreach events with our exhibits and hands-on activities for youth and families. We provide an informational packet to all new members and have distributed educational materials to thousands of residents countywide. We have recently converted our new member packet to a digital document in an effort to reduce our carbon footprint. Conservation of native plant communities has been front and center of the chapter's activities throughout the pandemic due to increasing demand for residential and commercial development. The largest undeveloped sandy ecosystem remaining in Pinellas County went under contract to Pulte Homes in 2020, causing a public outcry to conserve the 44-acre tract of sandhill, wetlands, and the last remaining rosemary bald in the county. Located on the border of Dunedin and Clearwater, the property and its late owner, Gladys Douglas, were well known to the community for her wish to have the land preserved. Years of effort to sell the land to the city or county had failed, and no provision was made in the will to conserve the land, resulting in the $14.5 million contract with Pulte. Local citizens undertook a grassroots campaign to block the sale. Through intensive coverage by the Tampa Bay Times, the groundswell of support for conservation grew, prompting Pulte to back out of the contract. The City of Dunedin and Pinellas County stepped forward to pledge $5.5 million towards the purchase. A public fund for donations was established by the Pinellas Community Foundation, with Conservation Chair Jane Graham appointed to the advisory committee to oversee the fund. In a short period of time, a pledge of $2 million was made by a local couple, and negotiations began with the estate, resulting in a final sales price of $10 million. With $2.5 million remaining to be raised and 30 days to the deadline, Valerie Anderson suggested that the Pinellas chapter hold a virtual fundraiser for the public. Communications Chair Rebecca Wellborn challenged the board to not only host the fundraiser, but matched donations up to $5,000 from the chapter's reserve fund. With just a few weeks to promote the event, the chapter collaborated with local organizations to host an in-person and live stream concert, silent auction, and fundraiser. Save the GDP raised $30,000 and mobilized the community to donate the remaining $2.5 million, with $2 million from a single anonymous donor. Conservation Chair Jane Graham and Chapter President Michael Coleman worked with the Community Foundation Board to draft and negotiate the gift agreement that included use restrictions and management guidelines to ensure passive use and protection of the most sensitive areas of the 44-acre tract. Jane did this all while simultaneously giving birth to her first child, Max. The purchase of the property closed this week on May 12th, and Max turned 1 month old. The Pinellas chapter submitted an FNPS conservation grant application to conduct a year-long field-based floristic survey and inventory of the entire property utilizing GPS mapping. Chapter member Debbie Chayette wrote the proposal and will oversee the grant if it is awarded. Renowned biologist Edwin Bridges agreed to lead the survey with volunteer assistance by the Pinellas chapter and FNPS. Another recent Conservation Committee effort resulted in defeating proposed mountain bike trails in the scrubby flatwoods ecosystem of Walsingham County Park. Committee member Jan Allen wrote letters to county commissioners and spoke out at public meetings on behalf of FNPS. The committee is also supporting efforts to conserve the West Closterman Preserve, 14 acres of sandhill and scrub vegetation, with over 60 species of flora and fauna. The advisory committee of the Pinellas Community Foundation has launched the Pinellas Conservation Coalition to address conservation concerns county-wide. Pinellas chapter is a member of that coalition and participated in the recent half-day visioning workshop with biologists, ecologists, politicians, and other environmental NGOs. The Pinellas chapter is proud of what it has been able to achieve in the midst of a global pandemic. Due to the publicity we received through the Save the GDP campaign, our membership grows daily and requests for presentations and collaboration with other organizations are pouring in. It has forced us to up our game, formalizing committee roles and responsibilities. We are currently interviewing candidates for a revised volunteer coordinator position and look forward to resuming in-person meetings, field trips, and volunteer work days in the coming months.